Hey, friends. Yes, it is true. The rock band Kiss made a movie. 1978, Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. I'm going to be joined by my buddy Sam Straub on this episode. We're going to break it down, tell you all about it, and let you know why you really should see it. It's all in this episode. Let's get to it. Sam, what's up, man?
Not much, man. Trying to stay warm. It's pretty unusual for this time of year for it to be this cold, but we're just kind of gearing up for it and just dealing with it.
Yeah, you're kind of up there on the West Coast. So
Yeah.
that what do you got? What's the temperature out there right now?
Um, States that it's probably lower 30s. I don't think it really got up above 45 or 50. Yeah, it's only 45 here right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're dealing with 30 here in northern Georgia, which well, we haven't had that since last winter. Anyway, it's not cool. We're not used to it. So anyway,
We're almost speaking like it's August going into September. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly.
it's the middle of November. Here we go.
Yep. Well, we're breaking down an interesting movie today. I don't would you call it a classic? I don't know.
It's a classic failure. Let's put it that way. But if you want to
Probably
call it
so.
a failure, it definitely was interesting.
Yes, we are talking about this gem right here. Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. First of all, a genius name, right?
Or in some cases, I guess it's Kiss meets the Phantom or Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. I think there's one or two titles that are slightly different, but
Yeah, we always called it Kiss Meets the Phantom. But anyway, man, I remember being, what was this, 78? I remember being, I would have been 7 years old. Um, just so excited about this because my world revolved around Kiss as a kid. I mean, Ace Frehley is the reason I played guitar. Everything I did, every birthday, every Christmas. What do you want? Kiss album. I
good
want another
stuff.
Kiss album. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kiss makeup set. So I remember my parents were going out this night, the night it came on, and we had a babysitter. And my mom told the babysitter, "Be sure Danny gets to watch that movie he wants to watch now." And so, man, it was a big deal. We were glued to the TV, right?
Oh,
But
yeah. Yeah.
anyway, it's interesting. Now, my understanding is that this really wasn't Kiss's idea. Is that what you get?
Yeah. I don't know if they were even informed, much less informed properly to be prepared. It just seemed like it was such a kind of spur of the moment. I don't think there was a lot of leeway to it. I don't think they even had half a clue. I mean, Kiss at that point certainly ruled the planet along with maybe Led Zeppelin, but even then it was pretty quiet for them because their tour was cut short. But
Yeah,
I think Kiss was the Beatles of the 70s. I mean,
no
I don't know
doubt.
about creativity, but when it came to putting on a show and putting on something that was unlike anything that anyone could ever dream of, they certainly
Yeah,
provided us. So anything, I mean, just the logo itself. I mean, it's something about just the logo. You kind of knew what was up.
yeah, right,
It was big.
right.
It was really big. I didn't see it until I was maybe 13 or 14 because I grew up in the country with three channels.
All right.
So you have that massive, ugly looking antenna that even aliens
Yeah,
could see from your roof, and it had pigeons and everything on it. And you're always tweaking that thing at least
yeah,
once a month because a windstorm would kick. Yeah. And
yeah,
you would
right.
hear from inside the house, okay, move to the left. I mean, yeah, this thing was a nightmare. So we didn't get NBC. We had CBS, we had ABC, and then we had PBS, which was KIXC in California.
Hmm.
Other states, it's different. I think San Francisco's KQED.
Okay, yeah.
So didn't really see it. I remember seeing the TV guide and seeing what was very similar to Salem's Lot. You just got that excitement and that kind of
Hmm.
adrenaline when you saw the text and you saw the animation. But
Yeah, yeah.
really hard to get anything out there. So anything Kiss related, I definitely sat up and begged and pleaded to stay up. Like for instance, I kind of remember 2020 with Hugh Downs,
Yeah.
him doing a special on Kiss.
Hmm.
not fully understanding the band was in jeopardy, but I don't think anyone knew or cared. It was just, oh, Kiss is on
Yeah.
TV. You have to pay attention.
Right. Right. That's it.
So I didn't see it till I was about 13. And even then it was a little rough on the edges. You know, at 13, you're not grasping kind of what the backbone of it is, but you do
Yeah.
see something that you know is definitely a little painful, a
Yeah.
little a little disoriented, disconnected.
Hmm.
Um, I really think it was a good idea at the time because you do have the biggest band on your hands, but instead of
Yeah.
really putting some thought and constructing it more of a creative way than say just spur of the moment, it certainly did not help the group. It didn't help them to reconcile whatever cracks were starting to form at that point. I think
Yeah.
if anything, it might have made it worse.
Yeah.
But
Probably
for a
so.
kid, for a kid, I mean, you don't care. You have no idea.
Yeah. That's right. We didn't care back then.
No. And I'm kind of with you. Ace has always been my favorite. I appreciate the other three, but it seemed like the other three were a lot more focused on how little can they wear, and the flamboyant prancing was to me as a kid a little distracting. With Ace, he seemed pretty stationary.
Yeah.
He seemed to have his own character, his own kind of personality, and his own structure. And as a kid, I zoomed in on him. I love the way he
Right.
played. I
Mhm.
love the rockets off the guitar, the smoking guitar, and just his playing in general. When you
Yeah.
strip down the real physicality of the station, I think he really had some Jimmy Page's quality
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
touches to his playing.
Yeah, that was one of his inspiration, Jimmy. Well, the premise of the movie, for anybody that's never seen the movie and you're watching right now, here's the deal. So you've got
Beware.
yes, you've got Kiss playing some shows at an amusement park, and you have your scientist who works in the amusement park because what amusement park does not have a scientist? So
I've been to many, and yeah, I haven't.
I mean, it's standard, but
It would be weird without one.
exactly, it's standard. But so things are going wrong. Things are, the mannequins he's built and all, they're breaking down, and things are not going well. And so management, concerned about the safety of the park goers, lets him go, and that's enough to send Abner Devereaux, that's his name, into revenge mode. And of course, you don't realize this, you don't know it at first, but his ultimate evil plan revolves around making another version of Kiss that looks exactly like them. But in the concert, instead of singing Hotter Than Hell, they sing Rip, Rip, Rip and Destroy to incite a riot in the crowd, and the crowd tear the place apart. And that's his ultimate revenge plan. Sounds logical. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I want in the movie, and everything else could just fall into place where it's going to fall. We'll just pick up
I
the
know.
piece, duct tape it here, and
Man, Sam, I just think about, sitting in the writing room and they're throwing out ideas and somebody going, genius. I love it. Let's do it.
well, I was thinking more in the terms of what was passed around that shouldn't have been in the meeting, but yeah, that works too.
Hold on a second. Oh, I got an idea coming, man.
Yeah, what's an idea is not always a good idea. Yeah, I always heard it was a cross between a Hard Day's Night and
Mhm.
Star Wars, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess I need to elaborate if anybody's not watching you.
yeah,
Kiss, I have not seen it. Sorry. Kiss, they have this box, and they have these 4 talisman, one for each of the band members, and they're, whatever symbol that represents their
let
character.
people know. Just to let people know, these symbols look like cutout cookies, by the way.
They did, yes. And every time you open the box, it's kind of this, and so these talisman give the band these powers. So, which makes sense since most rock bands have powers. But they give the band powers. They all have their forte. And I think that's one of the funny 70s things about this movie is when they use their powers, the sound effects and the visual effects is so 70s, right?
Well, the fact that Hanna-Barbera had a strong input in this since they did all their sound effects for the Scooby-Doos and the Jetsons and all that. So they had a huge catalog of just any 70s, sound bite they could incorporate, because that represents Kiss when I think of Kiss. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so do you give a spoiler in a movie this old?
Sure, why not? In this case, yes. You can't go into it thinking it's a Kiss concert. You can't go into it thinking it's a Kiss documentary. You can't go into it with anything other than, if you just want a good laugh and you don't take yourself seriously, and you can shake your head and giggle at it, then you're on the right track. I think if you're trying to dig in for some meaningful,
you're in the wrong movie.
If you're trying to get something out of it, you will bang your head against any coffee table readily available.
Absolutely.
You don't know what to think. And it's cringing because you seem like you have good people, and there seems like you have people that are cast to do something. But like I said, I think it was a great idea at the time. I think it was something that could have been taken in another direction. Like, it could have been a concert documentary, or not really documentary, but something that leads up to something grandiose. Instead, there's a lot of confusing turning points. There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of questioning. A lot of it's just kind of cringing because you don't quite know where it's going. And I think somebody on YouTube had a good point. You don't see the band, or you don't encounter the band until a half hour to almost 40 minutes into it.
Yep. That's it.
So you're sitting through a lot of B acting. You're sitting through the synopsis of what is going on, but as you're a kid, you're just waiting for Kiss to come on. So it must have seemed like an eternity when you were how old to be able to go, okay, where's this going?
Yeah, where's Kiss? Where's Ace?
But yeah, why is it taking an hour for it to accomplish anything?
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. I mean, back then as a kid, you just think it's awesome, like we said. But now as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, it just seemed like everything in the movie was the most obvious choice they could come up with. I mean, you got these three hoodlums that are in the park just going around causing trouble. Well, the hoodlums' names are, I mean, this is genius. Chopper, Slime, and Dirty D. Ooh.
Done dirt.
Done dirt cheap. Dirty D's. Now I'm gonna have that song in my head. Thanks, man.
Anytime.
But I don't. It's just like the most obvious choice in that. Like you say, the B acting. That's spot on, man. I see a couple scenes. I'm like, what? What are they? What is that guy doing?
I can do that. Yeah. Like I said, I'm sure there was some kind of deadline. There was pressure. I mean, you can definitely tell it was just, we have to do this and it's got to do it now. And
yeah,
read somewhere that I guess Ace was one of the few, if not one of the few, that showed up on time for a shoot. And then somebody would tell him that they didn't need him till 3 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And that was enough to kind of send him over the edge and just vanish the scene and just contemplate what the heck he was even doing there to begin with. I think that was one of the cracks showing.
Right. Yeah. Well, at the end of the movie, just for anybody that hasn't seen it, at the end of the movie, Abner Devereaux, the scientist, has the band trapped in this cage, and they decide they have to get their hands on their talisman. So they're gonna do that by using the power of their mind. So it's, and then the box, all together, they bind their minds together, and the box floats over to get their talisman. They're able to get Ace to do is and disappear and appear on the stage.
Fonzarelli,
Yes, that's his power. That's one of the things he can do is, and then they all disappear. But and then of course, they take over and the other band is gone after a brief fight on stage, and everything's great.
And the stunt doubles, that's another thing to really,
Yeah.
if you got to pause activation on your player,
Mhm.
it's kind of frightening how much the doubles almost don't resemble in other costumes. But one was black, the other one
Yeah.
was Asian or something. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, if you don't have an eye for detail, you'll be fine. If you do, it's going to drive you berserk.
Yeah. And you and I, being Kiss fans, can spot the fake right
Mhm.
off the bat.
Oh yeah.
Like I know these guys' faces, and I'm going, that's not Peter.
Yep.
So, but anyway, it's one of these things where if you watch it now, you have to go into it just ready to laugh, and you have to get ready for one of the most cheesy things that you will ever encounter. And I'll tell you, it's funny because I've owned this movie for years on this VHS.
Oh, I remember that version. Wow.
Yeah. And so I told my daughters about it. And I said, y'all, you have to watch this movie because it's the cheesiest thing you've ever seen. And then this one won't work anymore. Like I put it into the VCR and it wouldn't do anything. So then I was going, well, I got to find the DVD. And I was having trouble finding sites that I actually trusted to buy the DVD.
Yeah.
And then my friend Sam, sends me this one. And I was just blown away, man. This is crazy. So we're trying to schedule a night to watch the movie now with my girls.
What you really need is we are going to watch this, and there's a first aid kit in the bathroom if you need it
Yeah.
after you. It really isn't horrible. It's just if you're a Kiss fan and you followed them through most of your life and you've seen them with many reincarnations as they get bigger each year in the 70s, because each year seemed to be this insane level of animation. It really has really not much to do with them. It's very similar to the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. The Beatles really didn't have any say to the animation or even the storyline, and they didn't even have their own voices in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that thing where the machine's taking over, and then you
Mhm.
suddenly wake up and you're having to sign off on something where you're like, I'm sorry, what is this?
Yeah. That's true. And I saw an interview with Paul Stanley once where he was basically saying he was talking about this. There was really nothing acting wise to it other than they would say, here's your line, and then they would roll and they'd say their line. And if they nailed the line, that was a wrap on that. That was a
That was
take.
a take. Yeah, that was a take. And to hear that Peter Criss, his voice or whatever wasn't picking up, or it
Mhm.
wasn't up to snuff, I guess, some audio flub, and then they had to have somebody come in and overdub him. I mean,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah. And Paul made the comment that he wouldn't show up for looping. And
Right.
so it's not his voice. So
Right.
anyways, but it sounds like him though.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of that Brooklyn accent, but yeah, you
Yeah.
can tell it's a band-aid over a gauze pad, another band-aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for
Yeah.
it. I've heard some of the fight scenes on the European version are slightly different. I guess they take songs off their solo albums
Yeah, they do.
and they apply it to the fight scenes in the UK. So I thought that was intriguing. Again, that
Yeah.
distance is between the plot and what's going on. But
Yeah, because when they're near the roller coaster, aren't they playing New York Groove?
yeah, because that matches the tension and matches
Yeah.
the confrontation.
Yeah. But yeah, that song is not in the version that I saw originally and that I have. So
I'm kind of curious what the take that they used to do Beth. I wonder if that was an outtake from Destroyer that was in the can. Because it is a different take. You don't have the orchestra in the background. It's just a stripped down acoustic version.
yeah, it is.
So I'm kind of curious if that was taken off those sessions and then used for the movie. I was always
Yeah.
curious because it's a beautiful version.
It really is. Yeah. And they do have some live footage in there from a concert, I believe wasn't it in California as well?
Yeah, it was done in Mountain View, I think, maybe in the
Okay.
Bay Area. I could be completely wrong, but I've read that I guess they actually stuck around and they did a free concert for the crowd, like a full concert.
Huh. Wow.
And
pretty
that's
cool.
just a testament of how cool that band was. They weren't going to be there just for filming.
Yeah.
They had the turnout, and I thought it was really cool that they actually put on an actual Kiss concert. It wasn't just for the camera.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really cool.
Well, my recommendation on this is that you should watch it just for the fun of it. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, if you go into it thinking
Yeah.
something from it, this is not the film
Yeah.
for you. If you want some it really is about 70s nostalgia. If you're born in that decade like we were, some stuff will look familiar. Some things will definitely, fashion wise, look wise, attitude wise, production wise, it definitely is on a budget. But yeah, if you want a good laugh, and if you want to do a Mystery Science Theater 3000, this definitely is a fantastic vehicle for that.
Okay, so now you've opened a whole new can of worms here. Favorite Mystery Science Theater movie you've ever seen them do? I've got mine.
I have 5. Well, I actually got 3.
This is going to be another episode at some point. I can see
know
this
it really
coming.
is. I would have to say The Painted Hills that has Lassie.
Oh, okay. I need to watch that.
Please do. I don't know, just from the very part of the opening credits to the ending, Lauren and I just lose it. We're always quoting so many different riffs off that, and the timing, the references is so dead on, especially when you think it first and then they say it.
Yeah.
That really throws you, because you're like, wow, this is just so. I used to do that to my mom's soap operas when I was a kid, before MST was ever dreamed of.
Oh, that's hilarious.
We watched The Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, and I would pass through the living room and I would ad lib or riff on a riff, and she would have me literally head out the living room and go back where I came from.
That's awesome.
So Lassie in the Painted Hills, San Francisco International.
Mm-hmm.
That's got Pernell Roberts from Trapper John and MD fame from Bonanza. Yeah. Another one of my favorites. Gosh, I almost have to have the list in front of me.
Yeah. Mine is Manos, Hands of Fate.
Oh, I think that's number 1 with most people.
Yeah. We were watching it in a van coming back from Virginia, and we were near Mount Airy, North Carolina, which is, the place that Mayberry was modeled after in Andy Griffith's show. So we were driving around that area and watching this, and they had that music going bling, bling, bling. And one of them says, "Get the cat off the piano." And I think I laughed for an hour straight. I couldn't breathe. It's so funny. But
yeah, I think that, and maybe the episode that probably Joel did with him, and that was definitely Mitchell. That happened to be the very first episode I ever watched, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hooked, and bless my mom, she was in the Bay Area at the time. She would literally tape 3 episodes to a VHS, 120-minute VHS, and do 3 episodes and send them up once a month.
Oh my gosh.
And I still have them. Packed away.
That's awesome.
I was part of the fan club, had the newsletters, still have all the merchandise that they had back in the day, especially when Mike Nelson took over. Yeah, it was awesome. My favorite show ever.
That's cool. Well, this may be another episode. We might need to get Ben involved too, see if he's up to date on all those episodes as well. But I appreciate you hanging out with me, guys. Check out Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, or Kiss Meets the Phantom, or whatever it's called. And enjoy it, because you're really going to laugh and cringe all at the same time. Sam, thanks for hanging out with me.
That's all you can do, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
As always, I want to thank my buddy Sam for hanging out with me in this episode. Such a great guy. Love him to death. Hey, stay tuned for more great content right here on Everything 101. In the meantime, I wish for you and all your family and friends peace and blessings. I'll see you soon.